The other night I had my first oral DMT experience. I am a very well-rounded with use of psychedelics. I have taken heroic doses of mushrooms many times. I am also very familiar with smoked DMT and LSD. This was an experience like no other. I had done a lot of research on Pharmahuasca prior to this experience. I believe it is very important to do your research before you do something like this. Before the experience I had not eaten anything for 24 hours, my last meal was a steak bowl from Chipotle. I followed no strict diet the week before the experience. I ate as I normally did. My wife was visiting her sister for the night, so I was home alone for the evening. I took 3.5 grams of Syrian Rue seeds and pulverized them into a fine powder with a coffee grinder. I then simmered the seeds in distilled water with juice from half a lemon in a stainless steel saucepan for 30 minutes. I continually stirred with a wooden spoon. I strained the liquid out through a t-shirt into a bowl and simmered the leftover seed material for 20 minutes just as I had done with the first. I then strained off the second pull and combined the liquid together. I simmered the liquid and reduced it down to about a cup and a half. I put it in the fridge to cool for a couple of hours. At 9 p.m. I ate a piece of dry toast and then slowly drank the liquid. It was kind of bitter but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I then ate a second piece of toast. At 9:50 p.m. I put 150 milligrams of DMT freebase into a shot glass, then added Pepsi Cola and stirred until it was dissolved. I let it sit in the fridge for about 10 minutes. At this point I felt no nausea from the Syrian Rue tea. I didn't feel anything really. I wasn't sure that it was working. At 10 p.m. I drank the DMT Pepsi. After about 5 minutes I started to feel slightly weird, so I went into my bedroom to lay down. It was slightly hard for me to walk. I lay down in bed and the ceiling was starting to sort of twirl. Then the walls in my peripheral vision would sort of curl up and all I could see was the white ceiling. I felt this was extremely strange. I sat up and needed to purge and walked to the bathroom and purged. It was extremely hard to walk. I was very impaired. I lie back down in bed and close my eyes. I see a box-like jaguar jumping on top of me. It looked like an Aztec statue. I opened my eyes and the walls in my room are green and moving. I think to myself, whoa, this is strong. I look at the clock, it is 10:15 p.m. I close my eyes and I am amazed by beautifully designed fractals. I am also being bombarded by thoughts of my childhood and things in my life that I need to change. The fractals would keep getting more overwhelming as time went on and eventually I experienced ego death. I was in darkness until I was greeted by a skull-like head thing that opened its mouth and it replicated itself out of its mouth, spiraling out into infinity. This might not make sense, but I'm not sure how else to explain it. It communicated telepathically and said, "Welcome to my playroom." I was suddenly looking at two screens, mine and his. We painted beautiful landscapes telepathically. I felt as I had been in the playroom before. It was very familiar and seemed like I was supposed to be there. We painted these scenes for some time. It is hard for me to recall what the scenes looked like in detail, but they were something like another dimensional landscape. Eventually this time in the playroom ended and I was greeted by a second presence. It's hard to describe what he looked like, but he was red and he was the father. I'm not sure how I know he was the father, but I did. He was terrifying and communicating with me in a strange clicking language. I had heard the language before on a strong penis NB mushroom trip. He was not happy with me, I could tell. I was thrown back into my body and immediately felt horribly sick. I stumbled to the bathroom and purged so very violently, but after I felt much better. I lay back down in my bed and close my eyes and leave my body once more. This time I was confronted by the mother. She was very comforting. She was a beautiful green and very dragon-like, but not quite a dragon. She too was communicating with me in the clicking alien language. I don't know what she was trying to say to me, but it was good. Then I was once again confronted by the father. He and the mother were together. I started feeling really sick again. I was aware of my body now but could not move. I telepathically said, "Mother, please relieve me of this." I received communication back and was told to chant. I did not know what this meant but decided to try it. Out loud I started to chant, "Oh oh 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 oh." It was the only thing I could vocalize. The mother and father's communication with me was insane. The alien language was so much more complex than anything I have ever heard. I was finally able to get up and purged again. I lay back down and I'm back in reality. I no longer feel sick and I was very happy. I look at my phone and it's now 11:25 p.m. The whole thing lasted about an hour of out-of-body experience and the after effects lasted about 2 hours. The after effects were very pleasant. Listening to music was greatly enhanced. It would have probably all lasted longer if I had not purged so soon. I was starving because I had not eaten anything for so long, so I ate some frozen chicken strips and drank a couple beers. I did not have any negative effect from the Syrian Rue MAOI from eating. I watched some TV for a while, then got a good night's rest. The next morning I felt completely fine and happy. Something I think I should add, the colors of the visuals during this journey were very dark earth tones. Overall it was a really good experience and I would do it again. I hope that someday I will return to the playroom.